fishing pole will be number one, because that's how you're gonna catch your fish and use to catch your fish. As you see, this one's smaller compared to your traditional fishing pole for summertime. Because right now what I'm trying to do is get ready for ice fishing. And ice fishing is the winter months. And how you go about that is you would have an ice auger. It's usually about 8 inches. Cuts a good size hole. And that's how you drill your hole. But I think the most important thing for me when I do go is the thickness of the ice. Regularly I like the fish ice thick as about the 6 to 8 inches is I'm comfortable with. If I could fish on 10 inches, that's great, because with 10 inches you can usually drive your quad on or your ski-doo and such. But me, I don't have a quad, so usually walk out there. Usually walk out about half a mile to a mile out to, I don't know, usually fish about 30 feet of water. And the type of fish we fish for is yellow perch. Perch is, I would say, is part of our traditional foods as First Nations people. I enjoy ice fishing, and perch are about this big. You could say about 6, 8 inches. You could get a real big one, probably about 8 inches. Those are good size to fillet and cut up and fry up for your family. I got introduced to ice fishing at a young age. My father went all his life with his father, and he kind of passed it down to myself. And I'd start ice fishing about, let's say, the age of 9 and 10. Once I was old enough and, you know, could handle pulling a sled with some gear and that was my job as a young guy. But yeah, fish or perch. And the odd times you'll get lucky and have a big pike come in, you know, 2 foot, 3 foot pike. And that's really exciting, because it happens rarely. But more or less perch, what we go for. They're so good, as you can tell. But yeah, and with the perch, like I said, we have a small fishing pole. They all come in different sizes. This is the smallest one I got, and I also have this one. It's a good one too. And there's different types of things that can help you, because some of the perch, they'll bite on your hook and you can't really tell or see them. So I have this little tool here. I don't know if you can see that. And it's just a spring. And so when the fish bite, I can see that orange tip like going down like that. And so when I see that, I'll pull up and usually got one. And with the hooks we use are really small compared to your traditional hooks for regular fishing. Yeah, there's different types. There's this one here. It's very small, as you can see. And the types of baits that I'll use for my hook is minnows. They're just little, you know, what the fish will feed on, little minnows. Maybe Douglas can pull a picture up of it. But also there's little wax worms called maggots, you know, from flies. The bait shops will collect the minnows and maggots and that, right? You just buy them in a like little pack. I think minnows cost around $10 a scoop. So I usually get like 2 scoops and put it in my minnow bucket and with all my other gear. Typically what you'll need is, obviously, you gotta dress really warm because it's cold, winter months, it's really windy, and snowing sometimes. And I have an ice hut, a 4 to 6 man ice hut, because when I go ice fishing, I don't like going alone. I always go with a buddy, kind of like a buddy system. Like I said, I go with my father quite a bit, and now I'm getting my friends into it, so we go together. And I got my little brother, he's come with me. He's been out a few times now, and he's getting into it. So yeah, it's always good to go with somebody just to be safe. And we have an ice hut. We have a portable heater, like a propane heater, you know, to keep you warm. Then I said the auger that drills the hole about 8 inches into the ice. That's either thickness of like 6 to 10 inches is pretty good. And other than that, like I said, you got your minnows, you got your hooks, then you got your little rods, a couple buckets, and you can throw your perch or fish in there. And you can, you know, have a seat in your ice hut. I usually bring like a lawn chair, you know, whatever you got laying around the house, you know. You can sit on a bucket too, but I like the lawn chair. It's pretty comfortable. And yeah, it's really good, you know. I would say it's like a really family-based type of sport to do with your family, or if it's a father-son thing, or a father and daughter, or, you know, like I said, family, it don't really matter. It's just about getting out there and spending time with your loved ones, and yeah, and your friends, you know, whoever, your brothers, your uncles, you know, hanging out. So I also find this ties into with our traditional roles as First Nations people. Is I find it as a way of providing for my family, you know, catching. Hopefully you like to get a whole bucket, and if you get a good bucket on a good day, sometimes days are slow and sometimes days are really good, and you can get like a full bucket, like I think you can get like 30 in a bucket or more. I could be wrong, but yeah, the good eater size are like this, but sometimes you get small ones or whatever, but I like to keep them like this big. A lot of meat on there, it's good. So yeah, the winter months here and ice fishing's here, and it just I figure it's just another type of cycle for Mother Nature and the seasons that we go by, because I just finishing up my deer season last month, about mid-January, early January. You know, after that I let that go, because that's a time when the does have the babies, you know, so it's their turn to have that break and produce more deer for us to harvest in the future. So now with winter months here, you know, we're getting back into fishing. So ice fishing for perch, and you know, you can catch walleye, you can catch pike and that. Then a little while after this season runs out, then you get in the spring, then you go spearing for walleye and that, trout, you know. So like I said, just the life cycle and circle that Mother Nature gives us, and we gotta go by it and do what we gotta do to feed our families.